Netflix's Devil May Cry is a flawed but fun amalgamation of the games, and so we're casting the live-action version of the show. So, sorry we ain't casting Trish. Let's dig into it. First up is Dante, everyone's favorite demon hunter. While I think the actor who plays Dante should probably be a bit younger, say in their early 30s for the sake of the physicality of the role, my first pick is the 46-year-old Lee Pace. For whatever reason, the star of Pushing Daisies and the criminally underrated The Fall really appeals to me in the role. Robert Pattinson is also getting a little up there in age, but I could see him tackling Dante, no problem. And if we wanted to mix things up a bit, how about Dev Patel in the role? He proved himself as an action star with Monkey Man, and he's got the acting chops to handle just about anything we could throw at him. Blech. But screw it, I'm going with Lee Pace. Love that guy. Mary, otherwise known as Lady, is another demon hunter and daughter of the villainous Arkham, whom we'll get to in a bit. She's voiced by Scout Taylor Compton, an actress who you may remember from Rob Zombie's Halloween films, wherein she played Laurie Strode. Side note, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 rules and deserves a reappraisal. Yell at me down in the comments about that, please. Anyway, moving on. I could see Scout Taylor Compton playing the role of Mary in live action, so let's go ahead and see what that looks like. Another option for Mary would be Felicity Jones, who of course played Jyn Erso in Rogue One and recently appeared in the Oscar-winning film The Brutalist. She's not only got the acting chops, but with a simple haircut, I feel like she'd visually nail the character. I could also see Emma Watson in the role. She hasn't done a whole lot since Harry Potter ended, and I doubt she'd come out of her unofficial semi-retirement just to play second fiddle in a Devil May Cry adaptation. But hey, stranger things have happened. That all said, I'm kinda hyped on the idea of Felicity Jones in the role, so, she wins out. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just striking out left and right. Since he'll probably show up in some form, let's cast Sparda, the father of Dante and his brother Virgil. In his human guise, he's a gray-haired, debonair-looking some gun, and for whatever reason, my first thought for the role is a white-haired Tom Cruise. Don't ask me why, ask the drugs. We've got a lot to get to, so let's just rapid select two more. There's Matthew McConaughey, who'd be tasked with ditching that accent of his, and Ethan Hawke, whom I just think would rule as Lee Pace's father, despite their age difference being pretty negligible. In fact, let's go with Hawke. Not only does he look great for the role, but out of all three, he's the only one I could imagine agreeing to take on the part. Then there's the White Rabbit, who would probably just be CGI, but let's cast someone in the role anyway. Mostly because I love AI-powered monstrosities. First up, Austin Butler. I don't know, he just looks like a rabbit to me. And actually, I was just watching the trailer for the upcoming Darren Aronofsky picture Caught Stealing, starring Butler and Matt Smith, and the latter would absolutely nail the White Rabbit. Not like that, pervert. Ooh, and actually, as long as we're casting former Doctor Who stars, how about Peter Capaldi? He's another one who I don't know, could see playing a giant anthropomorphic rabbit. Capaldi. I feel like he requires the least amount of makeup for the role, and if we're going full CGI, then his voice is pitch perfect. I mean, he sounds nothing like the cartoon version, but I bet Capaldi's version would be instantly iconic. Vice President William Baines plays a large role in the show. He's not in the games or the manga, and in the show is voiced by the late great Kevin Conroy. He's presented as an older gentleman with a strong jawline, giving us a few options. Daniel Craig could pull out one of his American accents for the role, or we could go a slightly different direction and cast Idris Elba. I could also see Alec Baldwin playing the vice president. And while none of these three would likely be interested, if I had my druthers, I'd have to go with Baldwin, if only because he looks more like a politically inclined scumbag. And then how about Dante's twin brother Virgil? The two aren't identical twins, so we have a few options. I saw someone on Reddit suggest that Kevin Durand looks a bit like Lee Pace, so why not? Let's see what Durand looks like with white hair and a cool sword. An actor who I think looks more like the games version of Virgil is Costas Mandylor, whom you may know from the Saw franchise. He's a smidge too old, but I make the rules here, so let's see what our AI artist comes up with. Closer in age to Lee Pace is Luke Evans, whom I'm going to arbitrarily go with as my pick for Virgil. Next up, Arkham, the scarred-up Baldy and father of Mary. He also doubles as the demonic Jester. I feel like the most obvious choice here has to be Anthony Carrigan, aka the bald guy from Barry who's playing Metamorpho in the upcoming Superman flick. My only qualm with Carrigan is that he looks a bit young for the role, so let's throw out 2 more choices, okay? Mark Strong is another notable bald actor with a penchant for villainy. I could definitely see him in the role, more so than my 3rd pick, Stanley Tucci, whom I'm honestly just postulating because he is also, well, bald. He's bald. My laziness aside, the Tooch could certainly work, but I'm gonna stick with Anthony Carrigan. Out of all the baldies in all of the acting world, that dude was born to play Arkham. Mundus, I think it's Mundus. I don't remember how to say his name. Anyway, Mundus is the big bad of Netflix's Devil May Cry, so of course we need someone to fill the role of the Demon King. He's basically a giant statue-looking guy, so our options are pretty wide. Since we already have Lee Pace and Luke Evans, how about fellow Hobbit alum Richard Armitage? Of course, we could also try utilizing a version based on 2013's DMC Devil May Cry, where he looks more like a bald gangster type. In that case, I'd suggest The Wire's very own Dominic Lombardozzi, who also memorably showed up in Season 2 of Reacher and in Tulsa King. He was also in Cold Pursuit, starring Liam Neeson, whom I could also see as the bearded statue guy version of Mundus. I'm going with Richard Armitage, mostly for the Hobbit reunion, if I'm being honest. And finally, we're going to need someone in the role of Enzo Farino, the middleman who sets up Dante with clients and gigs. He's a schlubby dude whom we could cast with a whole bunch of non-derogatory sleazeball actors. I wish James Woods was a little younger, because the character he played in Casino would make for a great Enzo. Another top-notch actor, Vince Vaughn, could make it work. That said, I can't think of anyone better for the role than stand-up comedian Stavros Halkis. He's another one of those guys who's just born to play a role like this, and he would positively decimate. So it goes to Stavi, baby. And that's it, jackpot or whatever. Who do you think I missed out on in this here casting? Do you think it would be better to directly adapt one of the games? Do you have thoughts on my Halloween 2 opinion from earlier? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching ScreenRant.